Hi, I'm Nathan. Obviously, you probably know that. I'm a student at the Hatchery in Los Angeles right now, and part of what I'm doing out here is to work on a new form of community. And specifically, I want to work with people with disabilities, try to create ways of engaging with people with disabilities in our community and get people who might not be aware of people with disabilities in their community and the issues that they face to get involved and to meet each other. So what I'm going to do, I'll tell you what I'm going to do in this webinar. It should only be about 25, 30 minutes total. I'll tell you a little bit about what the ArtWalk is, why I started doing the ArtWalk, what I think the ArtWalk will accomplish in your community, what I think it has to offer you, why I think it's important for you to do it, and then lastly, how you can host one. It's really easy, and I'll explain that towards the end. So just a little bit of background. My personal story is that I grew up with a brother who's severely mentally, intellectually, physically disabled. He has epilepsy and cerebral palsy, and has autism as well. So, growing up with him, taking care of him with my mother was quite an experience, and it's really shaped the way that I look at the world. So I don't look at it the way that most people do because of my experiences with him. So every time I try to get involved in the community, either in a church or a nonprofit or other organization like that, at the back of my mind is, how can this help Ben? How can this help my brother? That's always been sort of the driving force behind what I'm trying to do. And if I'm honest, my experiences in the church, in nonprofits and in other organizations like that haven't really been very good for people like my brother. People with disabilities are rarely, if ever, present, and their voices are almost never heard. So that problem is something that I've noticed for a long time, and finally decided, what, I need to start doing something about this. I don't see anyone else doing something, so I need to take matters into my own hands. Part of the other problem with this is that before you can address the problems that people with disabilities face, you need to be made aware that those problems even exist. A lot of times, most people don't even know that there are people with disabilities in their community, right next door sometimes. They don't even have any idea. So before you can really address and solve the problems that people with disabilities face, you need to be aware of them. They need to be made visible. I think too often in our society, in our culture, people with disabilities, people like my brother, are rendered invisible. They're just not even seen. So before you can solve the problems, you need to make them visible again. And I think that that's part of what the ArtWalk addresses. And if you look around your community, think about all the times that you're out shopping or at a restaurant or at a church service, a coffee shop, a business, anything like that. How often do you see people with disabilities around? My guess is not very often. I mean, statistically, it's about 1 in 5 people who have disabilities, and that's probably a low number. That's probably underreported. So the fact that 1 in 5 people have a disability, yet they are hardly ever seen in the community, I think is a big problem for a number of reasons, not least of which is a theological reason, which is that I don't think personally that we can ever truly, fully be the church, what the church is supposed to be, if we are not a church of the least of these, of the last rather than the first. I think far too often the church has been about the first. It's been about the people with power and influence, and not about those on the outside and those who are invisible. And so that's really what is driving me, motivating me to solve this problem. And also because I am, personally connected and invested in this. I see the real pain, the real suffering, the real struggles that people with disabilities and their families and friends go through. And I want to try to do something about it. And ultimately, I think that the ArtWalk is something that everyone can do. And that's the point of this, is you don't have to wait for someone to solve these issues, that you can take matters into your own hands, and it's a lot easier than you think it is. So that's a little bit of background. So this is what I think the ArtWalk is helping to address. I think it is a way to get people with disabilities visible again, to make the community, your neighborhood, aware that these people live amongst you and you didn't even realize it. And not just that, but that they are worthy of our love and of our relationships, and that they bring something to the community that has been severely lacking, I think. So, the Art Walk involves, art, community, storytelling, creativity. It's a really, really great medium, I think, to be able to interact and engage with people that you otherwise wouldn't come into contact with. But not just that, it's a really non-confrontational, non-threatening way. I think a lot of people that I've talked to are afraid to approach people with disabilities because they're not sure, oh, am I saying it right? Am I going to say the wrong thing? Am I going to offend them? And I get it. I understand that. I mean, I feel that way. Even though I have a brother who is severely disabled, I still feel that way about other people because I know my brother really well. I don't know these other people really well. But, it's the same case with everyone. Anytime you meet anyone, those are the real issues that we're facing, not just people with disabilities. So I think what the Art Walk is able to do, what it manages to do, is takes all of the scary pieces out of meeting people that are new and people who are different in ways that we're not used to. It takes all of that out. It's very easy to talk to people, to communicate, to relate, to engage, looking at the art, hearing about their stories, why they took the pictures. And it's really powerful to see that, to experience that. So another important issue is that the people with disabilities get to be creative and in control of their creativity. I think a lot of times people with disabilities are not given any choices. They don't have any agency in their lives. The choices are made for them, decisions are made on their behalf, so they don't have any power in their lives. And I think that, this is one small way to try to regain some of that. The Art Walk allows them to choose to take pictures of what they want to express themselves how they want to see the world how they see it, and to be encouraged to see it that way and to share it with others. So the Art Walk it's not ever something where we're telling them what to do or how to do it. This is an experience, an opportunity for them to be creative and then to share that creativity with others. Plus, it's just really fun. It's a lot of fun and it's really easy to do. Having worked with many people in a group home and other organizations that work with people with disabilities, it's oftentimes very difficult to come up with ideas for things to do, things to get involved in the community. So this is a really, really easy solution to that problem. And I'll talk about a little bit more about what's involved in that. But the key thing is that this Art Walk and these Art Walk and gallery experiences make visible those people that have been invisible. And I don't think that we can really move to address the core issues that community is facing until everyone is aware and everyone can see that they exist. And I think that's really, really important. Okay, so what's involved in the Art Walk? There are 5 components to the Art Walk itself. Now, Art Walk is sort of an umbrella term that I use to cover the entire process, but at the beginning you have the actual Art Walk itself. This is where people with disabilities go out into a park, any kind of natural setting. We've done it on like a street block, downtown sort of area with interesting architecture and, the hustle and the bustle of the city, all that stuff. We've done it at the beach. You can do it any place you want to. We've done it in like a gardens, like a botanical gardens kind of thing. Like there are so many opportunities in your community to do something like this. And I'm sure you have the perfect spot in mind. So we go to that location with people with disabilities. We get some volunteers with us. That's the second part, volunteers. And we walk around. It's about a mile, no more than a mile usually. And we take our time and we enjoy each other's company and we enjoy the scenery. We take pictures of things that we see, things that we find interesting. So that's the first component of the Art Walk. The second component is volunteers and coordination. So it's really important to find people who are interested in helping you with this. It's going to be really difficult to do on your own. But luckily, there are a lot of families, advocates, caregivers, friends, etc., that have people with disabilities in their lives that would be more than happy to volunteer and to help do this with you. I recommend, a 1-to-1 ratio, so you have one person helping another, and it seems to work out really well that way. But again, I think that having that that volunteer base is really important. And I think that you'll find it's really easy to rally people to do this because in my experience, people are excited about an opportunity like this, and they're going to want to join in whatever way they can. So the third element is participation. So that actually finding the people who want to take the pictures. That seems like an important element. And I think, like I mentioned before, most people don't realize the large community of people with disabilities living in their community. And there are usually a number of group homes or schools or programs or anything like that very nearby that most people don't even realize. So, if you know someone who has a son or a daughter or a brother or a sister with a disability, reach out to them, ask them, say, hey, do they have any friends that would be interested in doing this? I found that a lot of organizations, groups are very willing to share that you're doing this, spread the word, if there's a school or school program or something like that, tell them that you're interested in doing this and see what kind of response you get. I would be surprised if nobody showed any interest. But that's the third element, is to make sure that you have a base of people who are willing to show up and take the pictures, because without that, this is really pointless. The fourth is what I call processing. This is the behind the scenes sort of boring stuff, but it's important and essential for the success of the whole thing. This is where you take all the pictures that have been captured during the art walk itself, and you find a way to print them. I usually like to enlarge them, blow them up to a pretty large size. I always mat them, and we have easels that we use. You don't have to do that, but I suggest it because it makes it look really professional and makes it feel more of an occasion. So that part of it, again, it's not as glamorous as the rest of it, but it's really, really important. And without it, the whole thing falls apart. And the last part, sort of the last part of the arc of the art walk, is the pop-up gallery. So this is where the people who have taken the pictures, the photographers, the people with disabilities, display their pictures in a gallery and invite everyone else in the community to come and just experience it, to look at the pictures, to interact with the artists, and just to celebrate the event. I've done this in lots of local places, coffee shops, libraries, community centers, all sorts of things. Churches will do it. So there are, I'm sure in your head, you have a lot of places that you think, oh, that would be a really perfect place to do that. It is. So try to do it there. I mean, it would be wonderful to get it in as public of a place as possible, because you want to get people from the community to come and experience this. So it makes sense to do it in a place where people are already congregating, where people are already gathering, to make it a little bit easier that way to draw in that crowd. So, and again, I think that the success of the gallery is in getting people together who otherwise wouldn't have been together. So I would suggest doing it in a place that is maybe a little unsuspecting. Like you wouldn't think, oh, I'm gonna do it there, but it would end up working well because you're going to have access to a lot of people. For instance, like a coffee shop. I think a coffee shop is actually the perfect place to do something like this because it's got a lot of traffic. You've got a lot of different people moving in and out, and all different types of people go to coffee shops. And who doesn't like looking at art while they're drinking coffee? I don't know anyone. So I think that's a great idea. But the important thing for all of this that I want to reiterate again is that this 5 steps to this is really easy. I mean, it's not any more difficult than what I just made it sound. It really isn't. And it's important for you to know that you can do stuff like this in your community to make a difference now. Like, there's no reason for you to put it off because it's really, really easy. And I want to help you do this. And that's what I'll talk about in a minute, is how and what I will do to help you pull this off. But I think that, I know myself included, for a long time was waiting for someone else to step up and to solve some problems like this or other ones. Or, I'm relying on other nonprofits, organizations, other groups like that to sort of bear the burden and do the work that needs to be done. One, that's not really realistic for a couple of reasons. But mainly I think it's because they're not even aware of the problems that I'm talking about or that exist. You are aware of these problems way more than anyone else in an organization or group is able to know. So if you want to make a difference, you've got to step up and you've got to say, all right, well, I'm going to do something about it because no one else is doing it. And then you'd be surprised how many people sort of come out of the woodwork and are like, oh, I've been really thinking about doing something like this. I'm really glad that you did this. You said something. I can't tell you how many people have said that. So all it takes is just a little bit of take a little bit of a leap to try and do something like this, and people are gonna respond, and it's gonna be really powerful. But I just got tired of waiting for someone else to do this, and it wasn't happening. So if you are in a similar position, if you feel like someone is not meeting the needs that you see and that need to be met, then maybe this is something that you should try. And if it is something you want to try, I'm going to walk with you through the entire process. All you need to do is go to my website, which is differentunited.com/host, and you can sign up there, and then I'll get in contact with you and everything. But what I want to do for you as we walk through this process is I want to offer you as much as I have from what I've learned to make it as easy as possible for you. That way there's no way for you to say, oh, this is too hard. No, I've done it. It's not that hard, and I've made it even easier for you because I have this detailed outline, very detailed outline, step-by-step things you need to think about, things you need to keep in mind when you do this so that you don't forget, oh, are there bathrooms at this place? Is there parking at this place? Like those little things like that. It's all in an outline for you to follow step by step. I will talk to you through the entire process. We'll email back and forth. We can set up Skype calls every so often to check in and to talk about it. I will walk with you the entire way. I have all of the images for social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Email copy for you to use so that you can send it out to your newsletters, your friends, your family, etc. You don't even need to worry about any of that. Copy, paste, send, you're good to go. You don't even have to think about it. We'll talk more about the right kind of schedule for doing that stuff, how to the best way to post and utilize social media, that kind of stuff. Like I said, we'll have consultations over the phone. We'll figure out solutions to your unique problem, and everyone's situation is a little bit different. So I'm available for that. And then the exciting thing that I want to do after we have these people who host in the different areas wherever you are is I want to put all of this stuff, collect your story, your experience, the pictures, all of that stuff, and put them online so that other people can see what was happening at an art walk in a different place across the country. And so you guys can connect that way and really, create a sense of community of people who are interested, passionate, and dedicated to these issues that face people with disabilities in their lives. Because, it can be really isolating sometimes, these issues. Being invisible to society makes it very difficult to find other people who care about this issue. So that's part of the goal of this, is not just to raise the issues and problems that people with disabilities have, but to connect those other people who have same issues as well. So that's the spiel. That's the whole thing. And if you want to host an art walk, I've got a number of people who will be hosting them this summer already, and I'd love to add some more people in different cities across the country. All you need to do is go to differentunited.com/host, and you can sign up there. It's really easy. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. I'm just doing this because I want to help you and help the people in your community. So yeah, if you have any questions, always reach out to me. I'm more than happy to talk to you about this stuff. And hopefully I'll talk to you soon. And thanks for watching.